order this meeting and note that it is being broadcast, though not live, on ctsbtv.org, Education Channel 1302. Thank you. Hearing of visitors, if there are any visitors. Seeing none who look eager to be heard, and having no correspondence, we can move right on to the board report, for which we have both the minutes of September 24th, which is the joint meeting for the appointment to the vacancy, and then September 29th, which was our last meeting, and would accept a single motion to approve all of those at once, if anyone is so inclined.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of September 24th, September 29th, 2025 as presented.
There is actually a Scribner's error in the vote that needs to be adjusted.
Oh,
So,
for September 24th.
yes. Yes, Mary Beth Mitt's vote was not captured.
We have Mary Beth Mitz, RB. That's right now.
Okay, it's fixed.
All right,
Awesome.
thank you.
Okay.
Did anyone second?
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. They are approved. And that brings us to the superintendent's report.
All right, we're going to start with the National Merit Scholarship commended students, and Dr. Ames is going to come up to introduce the students and speak a little bit about what this honor is about.
Sure. We have three commended students this year from the National Merit Scholarship Program. And to be a commended student means that you're really, really, really smart, and you tested really, really, really well on the PSAT. This is largely driven by their score on the PSAT, and precisely, I believe this puts you between the top 5 and 3%. So you're third, fourth, or 5% nationally, which is fantastic. We have three students this year: Ava Mosian, Aiden Jezik, and Saimi Sala, who's not able to be here with us this evening. I think while this recognition is driven directly by their score on the PSAT, I think it's important to recognize that these three students especially really thrive beyond the gymnasium where they took the PSAT. Ava, for example, is a very strong leader on both our cross country and our track team. She's also one of the biggest contributors to our quiz team. We're very proud of her efforts and all her success there. And Aiden is a big part of our robotics team, but I think it's fair to say, come on inside, perfect timing. Come on in. Right here. Come on in, guys. You're good. Yeah. Come on in, we're fine. Glad you could make it. Not at all, you're fine. I always think of Aiden as sort of the guy keeping the beat to so many of our bands. Every time there's a group together, Aiden is involved in one way or another on the drum kit or in the back, especially working with some of our younger musicians, and that's really a special part of his existence at LMMHS. And Saimi Sala, who's always punctual, and is also one of our commended students this year, is also a big contributor to the robotics team. I think the neatest part of Sai's story most recently has been her work with MIT. This summer she started some really impressive work with, help me out, Sai, cartographic AI. I actually had the chance to meet her professor, and some of the work she's been doing is really, really impressive. So they scored really well on that PSAT, and we're proud of them and appreciate all their academic efforts, but there's a lot more going on than just that. We have some super cool certificates for all three of you, and I know that there are a lot of people who want you to come up with your families individually and take receipt of your certificate. So with that, I'll turn it over to Dr. Collins, and he can orchestrate this for us.
Right, if you want to do the order in which they come up,
Sure.
We'll begin.
We're going to begin with Saimi Sala.
Right, and
Sai, come on up.
Mrs. Polkowski has generously agreed to take a picture for the family if you want to be part of the affair. Dr. Ames?
Oh, no. There's a lot in the photo here. I see her every day.
Well,
Do you have a phone?
yeah.
Okay, great. I'll go over here.
Awesome.
One more, just in case.
All right. Next, we'll have Ava Mosey and her family come up. Sorry.
Trying to get out of here.
Thank you.
Last but certainly not least, Aiden Jezik and his family.
Just so we
Thank you. So I'm going to insist that the recipients and their families leave us now, so you don't have to do so awkwardly in 10 or 15 minutes. But thank you for coming. Congratulations.
We have a lot of exciting business.
So glad you made it. Thank you for coming.
It's a delay from my end.
No, you're good. You're good. Congratulations.
Thank you.
See you guys. Thanks for coming out. Thanks to see you.
Congratulations. He would have had to abstain for 24 minutes.
That's true.
Because so if we want to do it, because he can really only go on the 29th.
Did you want to vote to approve the minutes of the 29th? I left you out. He'll just,
I don't have standing,
You'll just abstain?
I don't have standing to vote on the earlier minutes, but that's,
all right. Sorry, I shouldn't have done it that way. We'll just leave it. Just leave it with the abstention.
Okay.
Thank you, that's a good point. Sorry about that.
All right. Highlights and recognitions. First and foremost, you'll recall that last year, Principal Kelly was the Massachusetts Elementary Principal of the Year. And this year, she's a National Distinguished Principal among 43 principals of pre-K to 8 schools in the nation. And she's heading to Washington at the end of the week to be recognized.
That's basic.
Yeah. And we could not be more proud. Last week was National School Lunch Week, and kudos to Shannon Gigliardo, who, if you've seen the list of locally sourced food, we are setting all sorts of records with the number of meals served, and if you go down to check it out, you can see why. She's doing an outstanding job, her and her staff, really. For the first time ever, we've sent a school librarian to the National Conference for School Librarians in St. Louis, Katie Pratt, who sent a lovely note upon her return to Dr. Ames and I about what a fabulous experience it was and all the great ideas and things she's looking to implement in our library. On top of that, she said she came home with a suitcase full of books. So, yeah, so you would expect a school librarian to do. October is National Bullying Prevention Month, and so all of the 5th grade students at Morris are visiting all of the classrooms to talk about combating bullying, and so we commend them. They are they're the big kids on campus, so to have them go and speak to all the rest of the students is powerful, as peer on peer. We've got Lindsay Osterholt and Amanda Hamlin-Hockler are presenting at the Association of Teachers of Mathematics on the data protocols that they're using at the Morris School. And so we're very excited and proud of them to be presenting at that conference. Those are the highlights and recognitions. Next is the official enrollment and state reporting. So every year, Massachusetts takes a snapshot of where schools are with enrollment, and that snapshot is taken on October 1st. So in the school committee's packet and in the agenda that is available online, you will see the last 3 years from 2003 to this year's October snapshot. So if you look at October of 23-24, we had a total of 786 students. Last year, 772 students, and this year, 763 students. But you will also notice that this is the highest kindergarten class that we had, and that we graduated in 2003-2004, graduated a higher 12th grade class. And I don't know if there are any questions on this. Additionally, you see the end of the year enrollment for those years as well. I'm happy to answer any enrollment questions that you may have. We're pretty consistent, and we aim to stay inside that range that we feel is really the perfect spot for our enrollment and our school, to have a great teacher-student ratio and still have a sufficient number of students to be able to offer the courses that we offer and field the teams that we can field and have the activities that we can have.
I had just one question, noticing we only had 14 pre-K this year.
Yes.
Is that random? Are they 2 classes of 7 as a result, or how is that going?
We do still have 2 classes. We actually have a meeting later this week to discuss, beginning of next week, to discuss this because it is considerably lower than it has been previously, and to figure out exactly what we can attribute to that and why. We would never make staffing choices based off of 1 year, but we want to see, is it a trend? And again, we're looking to have just right sizes.
25 to 14 is significant.
Yes, it is.
And in the past, there's often been a wait list beyond and so forth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, we've got a meeting scheduled to take a look at this and figure it out, and I can certainly report back to you. Other questions about enrollment? All right. So you'll recall we moved from our homegrown survey to the Panorama survey, and part of the reason for that, in addition to all the other things that Panorama can do for us, it does a national norming of the survey, so we can see how we compare to like cohorts across the country. And I believe that
It's us.
that Morris is going first. Yes.
We are.
Good evening, Dr. Collins, Chairman Cass, and members of the school committee. I want to start by thanking you for giving Mrs. Kelly and I and Dr. Ames and Mr. Haas the opportunity to go over our survey results. As you know, data reveals much about our school climate, learning for our students and staff, and how family members are feeling with their relationship with our school. So looking at our data really gives us the opportunity to look for areas of growth and areas where we're really shining. Just for a moment. Sorry.
Pause for technical difficulty. It was there a moment ago.
It was there.
We know what it's going to be.
No, you have it.
Is there more than one
So,
PMI?
this is the principal of Morris Island IVF.
Melissa, am I in the right direction?
Never in there. Yeah.
I just thought it might be loose on that end.
I can't reach it. I don't suspect it's so far, but I think, yeah.
It's probably on this side. I don't know.
It's like 2:13. You want to come? Let me turn it off. It's just gonna-
I got it too.
Can I have the
Mind the way.
Me. Why don't we try Brenda's computer while we're playing here?
Oh, there you go. Nice job.
What did you do?
I fixed it. That's all we used.
Okay, so the theme of our night is celebrating strengths and embracing our growth. As you know, that we started using the Panorama survey with family, students, and staff last spring. So it's great that we can compare our data from spring to fall at this point. These are the numbers for the Morris school community. On the right, you will see the individuals that completed the survey. We had 161 students, which is 100% of our 3 through 5 students. We made sure that students that were absent, we pulled them down, made sure that everyone's voice was heard. In the elementary school, the students that complete the survey, obviously pre-K through 2, it's a little more difficult to survey them, so the survey is taken by students in 3 through 5. Families, we only had 51 out of 337. Some of those families do have more than one child in the building. We had 49 out of 63 teachers and staff. And our goal for us is to increase family and staff participation in the survey in the future. So what we're celebrating at Morris, some of our areas of excellence, the results paint a clear picture of a strong, connected, and positive school community. We have strong relationships. Students, families, and staff report overwhelmingly positive relationships. And that's where really the heart of the school begins, is those relationships. Positive school climate. Our school is consistently viewed as a safe and supportive environment for learning, and we use effective communication. Families feel well informed and connected to the school. Data across all groups is overwhelmingly favorable in many areas, placing us the 80th to the 99th percentile nationally. So I'm going to start by focusing on the student perspective. And if you look over at the image here on the slideshow, you will see that we're all the way to the right in green when it comes to our student perspective, which means compared nationally, we every area that was surveyed falls under the 80th to 99th percentile. Some of our key strengths is 83% of favorable of student-teacher relationships. This is plus 8% from the spring. 77% favorable for school climate. That's plus 10%. School belonging, plus 6%. 76% favorable for school learning strategies. 76% favorable for school safety. Our school belonging went up 6%, and perseverance is at 71%. School engagement also increased 6%. This significant growth here shows our focus efforts are making real differences for students. And I took this data and connected it to some of our PBIS that we've been doing in the building, and I really think that it has made a difference for our students when it comes to their perspective of the building. PBIS, the goal of PBIS is creating a positive environment for our students, and I think that's exactly what it's doing. This PBIS supports a framework on school culture and student connectedness. PBIS emphasizes creating a safe, supportive, and predictable environment where students can thrive academically, socially, and emotionally. So that's our student perspective. Should we go on and then ask questions at the end? Does that make?
Or if anyone has any,
If anyone has any questions. Yes, please do. All right, next up, Mrs. Kelly.
you still on?
Next, you will see our family perspective, and we had a only a small portion of our families take the survey, but you can see that we are still doing strong with nationally with our school climate. In school safety, it did go down a bit in school fit. And this survey, parents can give you feedback. So when I looked at the feedback parents gave our school, some of the comments were related to ensuring that their children have support with peer conflict, peer relationships. The word bullying comes up a lot in the feedback, and bullying is a term that we hear often, but it does most cases come down to students who are just not getting along, and it's peer conflict. So in that area, I'm always looking to inform our families on what we're doing in the school in regards to peer-to-peer relationship and to bullying. There was feedback, again, from our kindergarten population. As many of you know, we did a pilot of a new way of assigning classrooms to our kindergarten class. So reaching out to those families who have students in kindergarten and getting their feedback on how we can do better. So, but compared to when we took the survey for the first time, we are still up in percentage for our family perspective. Thank you. Going down to our teacher and staff perspective, and you did see in the beginning that less staff took the survey. The first time around that we gave the survey, we gave it during a faculty meeting. And this time, we let the staff take it at their convenience. I gave them lots of optional times that they could take the survey. But I think Ms. Souls and I will go back to taking the survey at a faculty meeting to ensure that we have 100% participation. But I can. What we are really, really proud of is the 11-point increase in staff belonging. There are two different surveys for teachers and for staff, like our paraprofessionals. We are constantly looking at our feedback for our paraprofessionals because they don't attend faculty meetings. And I know Ms. Souls is going to be setting up a meeting with them in the upcoming weeks just to update them on some things that we talk about at faculty meetings, just to make sure that everybody is hearing the same message. Because AI is here at our forefront, we did ask both families, and I should have commented on that, and teachers and staff about their perceptions of AI and their knowledge. And you can see we're at the lower end of the knowledge with AI, but that is a focus for our school district. And we have some upcoming professional development for teachers and staff. Thank you, Marcus. And here are the percentage points where we fall. And you'll see faculty growth mindset is at had a little bit of decrease. And we're looking at bringing back our learning walks. And that's just where we teachers go and visit each other's classrooms, and we share ideas. And then the other area that we decreased a little bit was the belonging for the paraprofessionals, and that should have said staff instead of students. So that was a little error I didn't catch, sorry. Next one. So our opportunities for growth. We are constantly looking for ways to engage our families and our students. And as I just mentioned, increasing our knowledge of AI and ways to also introduce that to our students. We do have, and can you go to the next slide? Okay, thank you. We have some very active parent groups. We have a fantastic PTO. We have an awesome school council and a phenomenal CPAC. But I think they're all in their different little silos. So I'd like to work with the groups and collaborating with them so they can all share their messages to our school community, because I feel like that is one area that we could reach more families and we would be able to increase our family engagement. And as Ms. Souls stated, we are in year 3 of our PBIS. This year we're focusing on our tier 2 students. Those are some students who just might need a little extra support in the social emotional area. And so we are, Ms. Souls is developing a check-in and check-out program for those students. Our professional development this year, as I stated, was on AI. So we just always have an open door policy at Morris, and I always encourage families to stop in and see Ms. Souls or myself, email, call. We're here to support them and their children. Any questions on the Morris survey?
I have a question. I didn't see the survey.
Yes.
So I don't know how it was laid out.
Sure.
There is opportunity, I'm assuming, for narrative.
Yes. So that was the comments that I was looking at, related to some of the family percentages. So families have the ability to comment. There's also many positive comments like, we love Morris, and
Right.
the teachers are amazing. But I stated some of the.
So in the family engagement part, was there any suggestions for you, or what? I mean, family engagement, that's a huge. So I'm just curious. I mean, it's very low, but I'm wondering, did anybody offer any suggestions or what it is that they're looking for, rather than leaving it up to you guys to figure out? Okay, so what more can we do? I mean, I love the idea of collaborating PTO, school council, CBEP, but did they say what they're looking for? Because it seems to be an issue.
One was our parking situation.
That's under family engagement?
Yes.
Oh, this is
because
why I ask. This is why I ask.
If we had better parking,
Okay.
families would be able to come easily to the school when we have an event, because it is, it's hard to park there.
It is, yeah.
Offer more family nights and events within the school, were a couple of the suggestions.
Okay.
One of the suggestions from students was more recess. That was a trend.
More recess?
More recess.
Of course.
And they also do
But
love Global Play Day, like we can't
And
take
there were
that away.
tickets and Global Play Day. They had a lot of positive things to say.
Good.
And the staff narrative really focused it only on AI. So a lot of the comments were, I don't know that enough, or
Right.
certain programs
Right.
that they want to try and things like that.
Okay. Good. Thank you. It's a broad
Yeah.
area. I didn't quite know what the focus was.
In the future, we should send the school committee a sample of.
Yeah. we could
Yeah,
say
that would be helpful, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm a little concerned about the non-responses from the family.
Yeah.
Have you done anything, or do you have any plans to try to follow up to find out?
So we did send it out multiple times in our family newsletter. We also sent it out through our text messaging system. In the future, I would like to, during one of our family nights or during conferences, have the survey available for them to complete while they're in the school, waiting to go into their conference. Because if we already have the technology there for them and the survey ready, it's less steps for them to, take the time to find the survey. That's one place where we're going to try to go.
So the results could be then incorporated with the results that have already been received?
No, so we plan to do this survey again this year to compare data to see if we have growth or hopefully growth.
So it would be useful to compare
Yeah.
the group that did not respond initially to the group that did respond initially.
Or, maybe we could come up with an incentive, however, it's anonymous because we want families to be truthful. So we have to get creative, for sure.
But we could put a question in there like, name the state, name something, and then if they, tell us what they did, we could enter their name in a drawing, I don't know, but we were thinking of offering an incentive too for
I like the idea of
families.
the conferences when you
Yeah.
have them in the building. I've always said a captive audience is, captive audience or feed them, one or the other. It
Yeah,
works.
we'll do food and survey night.
There you go.
Can you actually go back to the slide with the number of family responses?
The first, almost first one.
Yeah, that's it.
One more, I think. There we go.
Right there.
Yeah. So I was trying to understand how the family's number is so much greater than the students. Is it like
So I guess if you,
because students are just
because the students are 3 through 5 that
Right.
complete the survey, so that's why there's only 161 students.
right, but so then
So this
there's
year we have,
approximately the same amount of students within pre-K through 2.
So we,
I'm trying to understand is if it's the family's number is out of like.
it's all families. So if you have a child in pre-K, you can take the survey, and if you have a child in 5th grade, you can take the survey.
But is it like per family unit or per parent response?
It's per parent response.
So I mean, there's also the possibility that like only one of a pair or however many parents responded,
Right.
which means that would.
Right.
Well, I think it's the opposite. I think there are 337 unique families pre-K through 5.
Right.
Which if you
Okay.
think back to the enrollment numbers, that's, some people have 2, most have 1. But it gets sent out to every parent. So you could in fact have 2 parents from one family respond. And so that 51 isn't actually families. It might be
yeah.
Right.
a little bit lower. Out of
Or
the
it's a
total.
family that has 4 children in the school.
Right.
So they're, yeah.
We want them to be honest in their feedback. Like, it's great to answer a question like, what do you think of the lunch? That's just an example, that wasn't a question. But when we get down to name 2 things that you would like us to do differently or improve upon, that's important to know.
Yeah. Are you able to see how many people clicked to the survey? Because it was a daunting survey. And it would be good to know if a lot of people clicked to it and gave up, or if that wasn't a problem and people who were willing to take it took it.
Yeah. So do you think you felt like it was too long for the most
That was
part?
my reaction,
Yeah,
but
that's
that might
okay.
not, it could be that actually everyone who made it to the page took it and that was
Right.
fine. But that would be kind of,
It's interesting,
They
when you develop the survey, it says like, it should only like take 10 minutes to do, so we,
but it was a very long page. But they should have that. They should know how many people
Yeah.
got to the page. It would be
I
worth
don't
looking at
know.
that.
We can look into our website where we send this information out. I know my newsletter that I send out is through a different, and it will tell me who clicked on what and how long they were there and whether they did what. But we sent the survey via our website.
Right.
We can ask the check.
Yeah, Panorama should have that anyway. And then just also for future surveys, it may be worth only sending it through ways you can track clicks. And then
Yeah.
you'd know what's more versus less effective and who's coming into it.
Yeah. With that text message, we tried one more blast out in hopes that someone will complete it.
Just clarification, this is the there's a pre and a post. So in the spring, we'll have a post. So.
Any other questions for Morris?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mess with this too much. Raise that up a little bit. All right, great. All right, folks. Marcus Haas, the assistant principal over at Lenox Memorial Middle and High School. Or Lenox, yeah. Anyway, okay. So Morris is a tough act to follow. But I think that we saw some really bright points in our survey results. You'll see our format's a little bit different. We included some of the questions that were in the survey. I thought that's helpful. But yeah, let's get going here. So So we had 340 students respond. Our middle school students, 6 through 8, took it right after we had a class meeting. And so we had a pretty fun class meeting and a little competition between our grades. And then we sent them back. For our high school students, we had them all take it in a class that they would all take, which is a social studies class. We heavily encouraged our students to participate, but they weren't forced to take the survey. So our family responses, we only had 15 families respond over about the 3-week period that we sent it out. We sent it out through our newsletter, or we sent it out through, we had email blasts, and we just did not have a large response rate there. So we have a lot of places where we can grow. And let's see, for our staff, we had a little bit over half of our staff fill out our survey. We sent that through targeted email, and then also we encourage folks during our faculty and staff meetings to take the survey. They were not required to. It was heavily suggested that they take the survey. So, okay. All right, some of our key takeaways. So our students generally felt safe at LMMHS, which was great to see. Students feel that their peers must be more respectful to each other. Most of our students are confident in their ability to persevere, which was really great to see. And then students feel misunderstood and lack a sense of belonging in some areas in the building. And when we get to our student slides, I'll explain a little bit more about what that sense of belonging, or where that sense of belonging comes from the survey. And so our families, most families feel that they receive consistent and quality communication. That's a big one for us. We really spend a lot of time trying to communicate to families. We try to communicate early and often when we can. So that was really positive to see. Some families don't feel connected to activities at LMMHS, which, we're always trying to boost that. There are, some gaps that we'll talk about in a little bit. Many families feel that their student is safe at LMMHS. That's always huge. And a majority of our families want more ways to interact with the middle and high school. And then for our staff, thank you. So our faculty and staff are confident in their ability to engage students and interact with parents in a variety of situations. There are a lot of positive marks when it comes to dealing with either parents that are upset or difficult parents, which was great to see. Faculty and staff generally feel a lack of understanding of AI and unsure how to address it in the classroom, which we're doing a lot of work this year on AI. I have a lot of my conversations with faculty right now revolve around AI, which is interesting, sometimes daunting, but there's a lot of chance for opportunity there. Teachers overwhelmingly feel trusted to teach in a way that they feel is best for their students. So, we like to give teachers their freedom to do what they do, and, they, overwhelmingly, I think, do a great job. Teachers feel that the relationships between teachers and students are respectful, and that teachers feel respected by their colleagues and feel a sense of belonging at LMMHS. All right, so now, so when you look at some of this data, when Dr. Ames and I first looked at it, we were a little disheartened, right? We're hope for better scores than that. But as we dug deeper into the data and looked at some of the responses on some key questions, we actually felt, that we're doing a nice job in the building with a lot of these areas. And you're going to see some of the questions that we scored well at, and some places that we're going to look to grow.
What is
What
does school learning strategies mean?
Sure. So school, some of those questions are about, are the teachers teaching in a way that the student, that resonates with the student? Okay, and so this part of our survey is broken down into these are actual questions from the survey, and when you see answered favorably, that means that they either answered our top 2 categories out of the 5 choices that they were given. So either very or most likely on those questions. And so if you fail at something that is important to you, how likely to try again are you? We had 73% of our students answer that favorably, showing that our students, persevere when there are obstacles. How likely is it that someone from your school will bully you online? 80% of our students said not likely for middle and high school. I think that's a huge number, especially because the majority of our kids that answer this are middle school students, and our middle, that's typically where you see a lot of what students would consider as bullying. Okay. How often do you worry about violence at your school? 82% of our students said once in a while to almost never. And so that's, answering favorably there. How often do students get into physical fights at school? 93% of our students said almost never. How respectful are your teachers towards you? 77% answered extremely respectful or very respectful. Okay. And so in some of our places, where we're going to look to grow, how often are students disrespectful to others, students or teachers? 36% of our students answered favorably. This is early in the year. I know that we have students entering the building from the middle school that haven't been in our school. Oh yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
You mean by favorably? They're in favor of being disrespectful?
Nope. So 36% of those students said that they don't feel that they were. Yeah. Sorry. All the questions are favorably are in the positive. So when you see a low number, that means that there are more students that answered in the negative. In your classes, how excited are you to participate? 25% of students said that they were excited to participate in their classes. It's far different than what I typically see when I walk around the building in the morning or if I'm doing observations. But it was interesting to see that the students don't feel that excited to participate, and it gives us some good data on our teachers using different ways to engage our students. How much respect do students at your school show you? 38% of our students answered favorably, which again loops back to students wanting to students needing to be kinder to each other, and so we have some initiatives that we put in place to address that. And then if you were upset when you came into class, how concerned would your teachers be? 26% answered extremely concerned or very concerned. So that's an area where, we need to build up our connection with our teachers and our students. And sometimes that is not always necessarily, just classroom stuff, but maybe having some more initiatives outside of the classroom where they can connect with their teachers and feel more comfortable and trusting of their teachers that they care about them.
Does Panorama benchmark at the individual question level or just in the kind of thematic categories?
It's more at the question or at the category level. I'd have to dig into it a little bit, but I could definitely look into that and get back to you.
Well, I was just gonna say, it's hard to know, does any high schooler anywhere respond that they're excited to participate, or is
yeah,
25?
I appreciate the grace.
What's that?
I appreciate the grace. We struggled with that too a lot this week, and when we first saw the data, and then we struggled with how to present it effectively. We're really struggling with. You'll see in a bit. There are some norms that just seem like you can't believe that the national norm goes both ways, high and low. When we look at these are the meaningful percentages to me. This tells me I know what the question asks, and I know who's responding. I know what those percentages mean. It gets really, really tricky when you compare to the norms and in the categories, because you really don't know which question's driving that.
Yeah.
And you can't see their data.
Yeah.
You'll see as we get into it.
Yeah. And so we did use this test in the spring, or the survey in the spring as well. However, when we created our survey in the spring, we weren't taking into account the national benchmark. And if you change any of the questions, and so I went through and changed up the question so it said at LMMHS so that it felt more personal. But then we realized that knocked us off of all of our benchmark data, so we couldn't use that data to score against the national benchmark. And so Dr. Collins asked us for this year to start using the same survey the same survey questions that Morris was using, or at least the same categories. I think they might be a little bit different for ages 3 to 5 or grades 3 to 5, but where from here on out we'll be using the same cookie cutter thing that everybody else has been using. So we'll be able to look at that benchmark data. Okay, and so our areas to grow, our kindness crew this year has been big for us. They're always looking for ways to be involved. I'm hoping to get them more involved in some of the initiatives that we put on as well, just to have more of a student voice there. Some of those include our middle school meetings. They've done things like standing out in front of the building and greeting folks as they come in, and trying to foster some belonging in the building. We've increased middle school meetings is another thing. Last year, trying to get my feet under me, I didn't have as many middle school meetings as I would like to, and so this year we're hoping to get one either once a month or once every other month, where we can get together as a large group in the middle school at least, either share some information, but then also do some fun activities. And so I know our 8th grade team and some of our other middle school teams are really looking to do more with their students that are, extracurricular activities during the school day. So that, recently the 8th grade team had a field day on our half day. And so they went outside and did some activities outside as a group, just build some of that connection, not only with their peers, but also with their teachers. All right, and so here's our family results data. Now, this is data that we're getting. We only had 14 individual responses from families. So that's something that we're really looking to find ways. And I know Dr. Ames has already reached out to some other schools that either administer a similar survey or the Panorama survey to see how they get some more responses. And so, typically when you see a small number of responses like this, I think it's either people at one end of the spectrum or the other, right? They're either very, very happy or they have something that they're upset with. And so we really, just like Morris, we want to boost up the voice and have more folks answer our survey.
Was there anything in the narrative comments from families that?
Yeah, they were all over the place. There's, some folks were talking a lot. There was a lot on one of the categories is school fit, and within the school fit category, it's a lot about programming at school and how it fits with your students. So after school events or after school offerings, clubs, sports, and so our middle school students who don't have a lot of those, they took this prior to, we sent this to families prior to having our middle school fair, club fair, thank you, activity fair, yes. And so we also don't have middle school sports, typically for our 6th and 7th graders don't have the opportunity to join a lot of our sports. So I know that's tough for folks to feel connected. And then, once they get to the high school, they have more of those opportunities. All right, so overall, how safe does your child feel at school? 73% answered either not at all unsafe or slightly unsafe, which is great. How often do you worry about violence at your child's school? 80% of folks answered almost never to once in a while. How often do you receive information about your child's school? 79% answered almost all of the time or frequently. That's, I think that a lot of that is kudos to you. We really want to email out things when we have an opportunity to, but then also having our newsletter has been great for family engagement. Often folks will email back to the newsletter to ask us questions about things going on at school, which is great. Let's see here. How welcoming is your child's school when you reach out to them? 73% answered extremely extremely welcoming or quite welcoming. At your child's school, how respectful is the staff towards you? 71% answered extremely respectful or quite respectful. We had no answers in the lowest tier there, which was not respectful at all, which I thought was wonderful. How likely is it that someone from your child's school will bully them online? 36% answered not at all likely or slightly likely. Okay. So, places where we can grow. How involved have you been with the parent group at your child's school? 27% answered extremely involved or quite involved. Now, this is something we are just forming our parent group, so this is a question that kind of put us at a disadvantage here, but it shows the need for us to have our newly formed PTO in the building, so that parents can be involved at the school. How often do you meet in person with teachers at your child's school? 13% answered weekly or more or monthly. This is telling us that parents and guardians really want to be more involved and get into the building more often. So we need to find ways that they can connect with their teachers, whether it's through our parent night and other things like that, or just finding some other ways to get folks into the building. And then in the past year, how often have you helped out at your child's school? 21% answered weekly or monthly. We don't have a ton of opportunities for families to interact with the school. We have some fundraisers. We have our booster club for the individual sports, but it's not something that you would go to or be involved in if you didn't have a child playing the sport typically. All right, and so some of our paths to the top here, establishing a parent-teacher organization at LMMHS is something that we're working very hard on, and we already have a really great base, and I think that folks are working really hard to make this be something that could rival how vibrant it is at Morris. We have a lot of parents say that at Morris that they're actively involved and they get to the high school and there's just not that opportunity there. And so we want to make sure that they have that opportunity to be involved and to give back to our school community. One area where we struggle is we want to increase our after-school opportunities and activities for our middle school students or within the Lenox community. I think about when I started last year, the community center stopped taking in the middle school students, which we experienced an influx of students staying after school, not really with anything to do. We're trying to get them involved in clubs when they can, but some folks, like we've seen on our survey, say, hey, I want a crocheting club. You don't have a crocheting club, and we have a process to do that. Hey, you got to find a bunch of people, find 10 folks that are also into that, and we're trying to steer those kinds of folks into clubs that we already have, but we'd like to find a solution that folks can engage in after school, so that they, if they are going to stay after school, they're doing something productive and something that's going to be enriching for them. And so another conversation I had recently with the folks that run the Kindness Crew is having them do some drop-in activities in the cafeteria to get students into that space and able to connect with some high school students. I think the first thing that we're going to do is they're going to be making some friendship bracelets in the cafeteria, and so there's already a group of young ladies that are going to head up that and try and get our middle schoolers involved with some of those initiatives. Okay. All right, so our faculty and staff summary, let's see here. Yeah, so you'll see, we're really middling with our responses here. But when we actually looked at, some of the data, you'll see that our staff are actually very, they're very confident in their teaching practices, and they also, they typically feel a sense of belonging at the school. All right, so how friendly are your school's families towards you? 86% answered favorably. So that, I think that's, we're having great interactions between families, whether it's tough students or whether it's students that are, doing the right thing in the classroom, we're getting good responses and we're having some meaningful conversations and with our families. Overall, how much do you feel like you belong at school? 73% answered favorably. How respectful are the relationships between teachers and students? 86% of our faculty and staff answered favorably to that question, which I think says a lot about our school and our teachers and their ability to connect with our students. To what extent are teachers trusted to teach in a way that they think is best for students? We had 100% of our staff answer favorably. I think that's a testament to, folks letting our teachers do what they do well. We make corrections where we can, and we have our observations, we have our evaluations, but teachers are really given the opportunity to teach how they want to teach. How clearly can you explain the most complicated content to your students? 89% answered favorably. And how much respect do colleagues in your building show you? 84% of our faculty and staff answered favorably. All right. And so overall, how knowledgeable are you about AI? We had 14% of our staff answer extremely knowledgeable or quite knowledgeable. That's an area where, in my conversations with staff, a lot of folks want to learn. Some folks are still afraid of, what it'll mean for teaching. And, a lot of folks don't know what that's going to look like and how they incorporate it into their classroom effectively. How much can teachers improve their classroom management approaches? 32% answered that they can improve a tremendous amount or they can improve quite a bit. That was an area where, I was surprised to see that. I'm somebody who always thinks that we can always improve our strategies. And it'll be interesting to see, I didn't have many responses in the free response regarding that question, but to me, that's something that I think that we can always improve, and maybe they just don't have the tools, which I'm dedicated to sharing my toolkit and dealing with students and classroom management strategies, so we can all improve in that area. How well do you understand how AI can be effectively used by students to support their learning? We had 8% answered extremely well or quite well. I'm hoping that with our AI PD I'm hoping to have some coffee and conversations with our staff about AI. We have some very knowledgeable people on our staff in regards to AI, and I think that once they have some of these conversations, I think they'll feel a little bit more favorably about it. I think that a lot of folks use AI and don't realize they're using AI. And I think that the more that they're exposed to what AI can do for them in the classroom, I think that, those numbers will go up. Okay, and so, our AI professional development for staff is something that we're really dedicated to, and we continue to do that. We've already had a couple of sessions, and a lot of our staff in conversations, regarding goals, have talked about wanting to learn more about AI, and whether it's taking the course that's going to be offered by Brian Tolan, or just learning on their own and incorporating it into what they do in the classroom. Increased evaluations and walkthroughs. Dr. Ames and myself are trying to be more visible in the building this year. We're popping into classrooms, even if it's just brief and not a formal observation, but trying to get out into the building more and really just giving folks feedback on what's happening in the classroom and offering support when we can. And then evaluation and training by administrative staff. So myself and Dr. Ames are currently in a course by Research for Better Teachers on our evaluation practices so that we can be aligned with the district because our folks, our counterparts at Morris have already taken this training. And so, as we finish, we have one session left in November. And then, we'll be able to use that in our evaluations as we go through this year. All right. General questions?
I have a question. I'll be honest with you. I'm a little disappointed in the little over half of your faculty taking the time to fill out the survey. I feel like, the administration puts a lot of work into these surveys, and I almost feel like it's a little bit disrespectful. I mean, these are benchmarks that can only help them to be better at what they're doing or be offered more resources. So I don't know if there's a way that in the future that could be, I know you can't make them, maybe emphasize more or something.
Sure.
I'm a little taken back by that, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Because this is for their benefit as well as the students, as well as the school that everybody loves and wants to be a part of and wants to come here. And I just feel like I'm just a little taken back by that, and I don't know what the answer is for that, but it's concerning to me.
I was frustrated by them too. I'm confident that it's not a show of disrespect. I may be wrong.
That's okay.
I doubt it. I think we heard a similar story from Morris that it's always helpful when there's a specific time that's carved out for this.
Okay.
And this survey was administered at a really, really busy time of the year.
Okay.
PAC in September has a lot of our contractual meetings. I use a lot of them up in September so we can get through a lot of important things. And if when we do it in the spring and again in the fall, I'll be sure that we have some dedicated time. There's no other expectation. Because I think they value the opportunity for their voice to be heard to contribute to the direction we're heading. I know they do.
So you think the timing was off?
I think
so.
I think we demand a lot of them in September.
Okay.
Back to school.
I would agree.
And I think it's, I probably should have had the foresight to make sure that the time that we needed for them to complete this is carefully eschewed. And I think in Morris's signal, they'll be doing the same moving forward. It's probably not
We had a lot to cram into September. I know trying to find that time with our staff is difficult, and but yeah, I think that's an area that we want to grow as well. I think that it's more on our scheduling and timing, and we probably could have given them a longer amount of time to complete the survey as well. Could have sent more email reminders, could have, had more conversations in the hallway. Hey, make sure that you've done this in our department meetings and things like that, and had them get it out to their team a little bit more. But it's definitely an area that we want to grow.
Well, it makes me feel better that there's reasons behind that.
Yeah, I think that, overall in the building, it's we have a really positive environment this year, just checking in with teachers. And I think they're in a good place. And I think that they're at a place where they can really focus on their teaching. And so I think that's been at the forefront to start this year, really making sure that, kids are getting everything out at the beginning of the school year.
As it should be. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm really concerned about the lack of themed response.
Yeah, we are too. That's an area where we're reaching out to folks to see what we can do. Like Ms. Soul said, there's we'd like to incentivize it in some way. We like to do little incentives here, maybe some Lenox gear. Enter into but it's an anonymous survey, and so we have to find a way to be able to mark folks without them feeling like we're looking at their data and saying, hey, you said this about me, and and so.
Well, it's a truism among people who do surveys that you get a non-response bias because typically the people who respond are either very happy or very unhappy.
I agree.
But you don't know where the middle is.
Yeah.
And I think you probably have that issue here.
Yeah.
And it might be useful to do some follow-up and find out how people who did not respond feel about things.
Sure. Yeah, and we have enough people that read our, read our newsletter. It has a pretty good click-through rate, and so folks are seeing it. I know that Oren, you took the survey. I'm assuming maybe it sounded like you at least seen the survey. It's long. It's 20 minutes long. Ours at the bottom said it would take folks 18 to 20 minutes to complete. So you have to be able to set aside that time. And I know folks are busy in the fall. Again, maybe it wasn't the best time to administer it. Maybe if we have, it would be a great time to be able to push it during back to school night, but we've been in school for such a short period of time at that point. It almost feels like, they haven't really had enough of a chance to form an opinion on how they feel about the building.
Is it necessary to have this in the fall? Can you just have one? Do you need to have two a year? Is it even necessary to do this in the fall? Or could you just have one in the spring?
Well, that was actually
It seems like a lot.
To see how our initiatives and our efforts were impacting, right? And so that was that's on me, right? But the idea of having having a place that we're starting from and then seeing where we end is what we're doing being effective. And if we only have the end, how do we measure if it actually went up or down? We could measure it from the previous year, but it's a different cohort, right?
It's a good point, though, that spring to spring is probably a better comparison. I mean, not that much of the cohort actually turns over.
Right.
And even if it did, if you have a good response, it's a good statistical sample.
Right.
And I think, you guys have raised a bunch of the reasons why it's very difficult to get an accurate read at the beginning of the year. So if something increases from beginning to the end of the year, is that because we improve things during the year, or is that because people have very different awareness and feelings in September versus April, whereas how much better did we do than last April is probably the better measure of the direction.
How connected are they feeling in the fall at that point?
Right.
It's pretty early.
Right.
And like Jeremiah pointed out to me, the staff is overwhelmed, so I feel like maybe they'd be a little bit more invested in the spring and have a little bit more to bring to the table in the spring. So I would support like spring to spring. I don't know if fall is, if you're getting the accuracy that you're looking for.
There's multiple questions in each category.
Yes.
Is there a way to send out like one category at a time? Like once a month you send out a different category, then it's fewer questions for people? Takes them 5 minutes, takes them 10 minutes instead of...
We can do that, but what we've learned is that if we make any changes to the structure of that category, so maybe it has 8 questions in that category, if we alter any of those questions, we lose the ability to...
Like put in the LMMHS?
Yeah.
Okay.
Would it? We can go by topic though, like if we did like school climate, just those questions, and then maybe school safety or school belonging, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because some people might feel stronger about responding if it's about safety specific, or if it's, I don't know, just
And also,
not as daunting with the full.
Yes, it's very important, and we like seeing how we are ranking, nationally to benchmarks, but is there the possibility of even shortening a survey that's more accessible to more of the parents to even try to see how are we doing with this shortened sample, and at least see if we get more engagement from that, instead of having something that is 15, 20 minutes where, like Oren said earlier, people may click on it, see that, it's going to take so long to get halfway through and then they just give up on it. You think that's a possibility? Or we could just look at that data in-house?
Anything's a possibility. I'm curious to see if Panorama couldn't tell us what other schools do that gets the best response, right? And if they say, hey, the folks that are doing spring to spring are getting, twice the responses you're getting, like awesome. And if they say the people who are breaking this out and doing it, but if we could get some feedback from them, I'd be curious to see, because they're doing this nationally, could they tell us who's getting the best response rates? Because we're not.
Yeah.
But we're open to anything, because the more data points that we have, the more accurate it's going to be, and the better we can serve and adapt, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, one other random thought for whatever it's worth. I'm not sure how many parents will respond to an opportunity to win swag or whatever, but if you do a grade by grade contest for the kids,
That's a great
based
idea.
on their parents' response rate, the kids will get the parents to fill it out.
Yes, I've seen them selling candy bars recently, and they.
Yeah, the kids will. I've already been sold candy bars 3 times today. So, the kids, if there is a pizza party for the grade with the highest response rate, every parent will be asked every day until they fill it out.
That's great. That's a great idea. Melissa, will you?
Well, you can, because what you'd have, the first question just be check off all grades that you have, and then you'd count for fill it out for you.
All right. Thank you, folks. Appreciate it.
This was really great. Thank you, guys.
All right. You will recall that we got a brand new scoreboard. It turned out that our brand new scoreboard didn't speak with our ancillary shot clock scoreboard, so we needed to put one of those up as well. We have, so now we have two scoreboards that speak to each other, and Pignatelli Electric came through for us again, and after donating their time to wire the first one, they came back, made the connections, and wired the second one. So we need you to, because it is a donation that has value, we need you to vote to accept that donation, please.
Just to be clear, this says to hang the new scoreboard, but this is for
They did the electrical work and stuff, right? So I'm sure they
the shot
did.
clock.
They probably have the equipment and they put it up as well. Yeah. So they did both.
Addition of the lift, they lent us, and it was the installation of the second smaller scoreboard and some work done on the 2 shot clocks.
Second scoreboard. Oh, okay.
Second scoreboard and shot clocks.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to accept the donation once again from Pignatelli Electric for $780.
I'll second.
All look like zeros.
Seconded.
Yes.
Any further discussion about connecting shot clocks and scoreboard? All in favor?
Aye. See if they work.
With our thanks.
With thanks.
Yeah.
All right. That's my report.
All right. One item of new business we wanted to touch on. The technology subcommittee had an initial meeting to discuss what on earth the technology subcommittee would do. And so wanted to kind of report out on our best thinking about that. I think basically it seemed like there were potentially 2 technology issues. There is all of the annoying ways technology can interfere with schools, which seems to be something schools have a very good handle on, plus the state is doing more, and seemed less of a concern. And then there's the question of how we can most effectively use technology. And there's obviously been a huge influx of new options over the last decade, accelerated during COVID and now with AI. And I think to some extent a feeling that things are changing too quickly almost to know what to do with it. And so the thing that we discussed that we thought might be most useful and where we are inclined to put our attention is on trying to think about, rather than reacting to every new tool and development and so forth, whether there are any kind of baseline principles that we should just have in place that ideally apply regardless of what the particular technology is. And so the format we were thinking of is essentially sort of, here are the things that we do use technology for. We want to introduce technology when it enhances student understanding of or engagement, when it gives them a new perspective, et cetera. And then what are things that we don't want to use technology for? Do we not want it to be used sort of as a reward or to gamify what is otherwise a learning process and so forth? Those might not be the right things in either category, but having that sort of idea of where we think it enhances learning, where we think it doesn't, seemed like something that does not exist and ideally would, and that I think from Bill's perspective could be really valuable to have. And so that is what we were planning to embark on. Obviously, we will collect input and draft and bring back to everybody for discussion, but seemed like a good idea. I don't know, Jason or Kim, if you'd add anything to that. So that's the idea. Our next step will be to have a meeting or two where we get together with the folks in the schools, both administration, tech teams, and teachers, to make sure we have a good list of the ways it is used now, the ways it's considered being used, things that people are most excited about, things that are potentially irritating. And then we will see if we can bring some order to it. So that is the update from the technology subcommittee. All right, we'll report back again in a little while. And then we have one item of unfinished business, which is from the first meeting at the beginning of September. We need to formally adopt the competency determination that LPS will use in lieu of MCAS. Bill had presented what that would look like, essentially based on, or I guess Jeremiah presented based on what it is that we were using already, basically, but had sort of tabled it to come back on and formally approve. So this would be the time to do that, so we can send it off to the state or discuss further if it's
So the article in the paper today, is that the commission that they're, or the board, whatever they're called, is this affecting this? And I mean, are we going to be doing this and then we're going to be asked of something else, or we can support this, we don't have to change it, or are we going to have more guidelines down the road?
I read that article.
Yeah.
So there's two things, and for the viewing audience, last year the referendum to remove the 10th grade MCAS test as a high stakes graduation requirement went away, and I want to be very clear, MCAS didn't go away, and the importance of MCAS didn't go away. All of our accountability data from the state, with the exception of attendance, almost all of it comes from the MCAS data. So it's very important for the school system and how we are judged, because there's a misconception. There's been a few people who have thought that MCAS went away. It didn't go away. The state is worried about districts backsliding, and so one of the things they've done is said, okay, everybody by the end of December has to have a competency determination submitted to us, because they want to make sure that districts aren't going to backslide. I want to be very clear about this as well. Backsliding isn't a Lenox issue. We're already above those requirements. Dr. Ames did a really nice job of making sure that we met all of the requirements and put it in a very easily understood, formatted way for our competency determination. The districts that they're concerned about this happening, we're not among them. Now, additionally, right, the state administration is saying, hey, we may want to have, in lieu of those MCAS tests, some end of the course year assessments, which is what they're looking at, as another test. And now there's a lot of controversy around that, because they're saying, are we just thumbing our noses at the voters that said, we got rid of MCAS, so now we're going to have another set of assessments to judge that? And there are other folks that say, well, know, to have some sort of assessment at the end of the course to make sure that people across the state are doing it right. So you can argue either side of it, but that's what they're exploring now. They're not finished exploring it. But to answer your question, we very well could see some sort of assessment that we have to do at the end of the test. It's separate from this, but achieving a similar end, if that makes sense. Right. Yeah, and it is in your weekly update, that article, so everyone will get it.
It's only Monday, though. We don't get it. I have days to wait before I read it.
It's online for sure.
Thank you.
Okay.
It's a little confusing.
It is. It definitely is. There's a lot of moving parts.
And then they could call those tests at the end of the year some set of initials that mean MCAS, and then we wouldn't even have to update our paperwork.
So sorry. You've had some time to sit with it. You know, if you have specific questions or what. Again, my belief is that the state is worried about school districts backsliding, and if anything, you know, we're heading in the other direction. So.
I have no questions about this. It's great.
Well, then, I guess we need a motion to approve the competency determinations for graduation from LMHS.
I will make a motion to approve the competency determination requirements for the graduating classes of LMHS as presented.
What classes?
What's your graduating class?
Yes.
No.
I will second.
Greta, last chance to oppose any graduation requirements at all.
I'm good.
All right, all in favor? Aye. They are approved.
Thank you very much.
That is the end of our agenda. Any other business? All right. Well, then we could adjourn until November.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody.